There is one single trick that unlocks all of the fun stuff you can do on a bike. It's the fastest and most efficient way to deliver power to your bike, and the hardest part is getting out of the way of that power so that your bike can use it. Today we're going to learn about the magic of the pedal kick. This one tiny movement can make a huge difference to just about any bike in any situation. The biggest mistake I made is that when I started riding, I thought I first needed to have back wheel hops in place and then I could learn pedal kicks. But that thinking slowed down my progression and made it harder for me to learn pedal kicks. As we always do, we're going to break down this movement into the smallest bits so that you can learn the basics really quickly and then start building techniques on top of that. The pedal kick is the foundation for basically every power move. So once you have this one technique figured out, you can do gaps and side hops and all kinds of other moves. You'll be surprised how often you use this one technique in your riding. Before we dive into the technique of the pedal kick, let's first talk about what it is and how it works. So in a basic pedal kick movement, you're going to have your back brake on and you're going to ratchet your pedals back to set it up. Then you're going to jab the pedals as fast as you can as you let go of the brake, and that is going to send a ton of power into your back wheel that makes it spin faster. That's how you get the power in the bike. The more efficient you are at letting go of that back brake while you're jabbing the pedals quickly, the more power you're going to get into this back wheel and ultimately into whatever movement you're doing. The only thing from here on out that determines which direction you go is which way you're leaning the bike and where your body is on the bike. Based on that explanation, there are 3 things that we need to be working on today to lock in this pedal kick movement. Number 1 is our body position on the bike, making sure that we stay out of the way of the power so that the bike can run free. Number 2, the ratchet, which is preparing to give the bike a ton of power. And number 3, and most important, our brake and pedal timing to make sure that we can efficiently give our bike the most power possible. If you can get those 3 elements correct, you'll have the pedal kick and the entire trials world will open up for you. This is the source of all of our power when it comes to all of the best and most fun moves to do on your bike. Let's start building our technique up by focusing on our body position. This can make or break your pedal kick. So we know that your power is coming from the pedals into this rear hub and the contact patch on the ground. Whether you're on your back wheel or 2 tires, right here is kind of where all the power is coming from. And so what you need to do is have your body behind the power. If you're sitting in front of the power of the bike, you're basically sitting on the power of the bike. So you want to think about your body position on the bike being behind this point right here. The next thing we need to talk about is the ratchet. Ratcheting is simple, it's just this quick back pedaling motion to prepare your pedal for that quick jab. But the sweet spot of the whole thing is getting the right balance of power and speed. So if you pull this ratchet back all the way back up here, it's going to really slow down your movement to bring it back. This is going to take a long time to do. But if you don't ratchet enough, you won't be sending enough power to the pedals. So this takes a little bit of fine tuning to find the right level of ratcheting that's going to give you enough power without slowing you down. It's this fine balance between power and speed. The third and final element to your success with pedal kicks is the rear brake, and specifically the efficiency with which you let go of the brake and push on the pedals. This timing can take a little bit to coordinate, but this next drill we're going to talk about is going to give you everything you need to really get efficient with this movement. So let's get on the bike and start working on a drill that's going to pull all 3 of these things together. We're going to work on body position, we're going to work on our ratchet, and we're going to work on that brake pedal coordination. We're going to roll along with our pedals level and use our brakes to slow to a stop. As the bike stops, practice your ratchet and getting your weight behind the bike. Then release the brake while you give the pedals a little bit of power. Your front wheel should come off the ground slightly. If your front wheel didn't come off the ground, take a moment to think about the 3 things that we talked about. How is your body position? Did you ratchet far enough? Did you let off the brakes in time to add the power from your pedals? Try to diagnose one of those 3 things that you might have done wrong if you're not getting that front wheel to lift up just a little bit. Because we're doing this drill from 2 tires and on flat ground, it gives us the opportunity to experiment and really lock in the efficiency of our pedal timing, of our ratchet, and everything else. And this is the right time to experiment specifically with the ratchet to figure out that sweet spot of the right amount of power versus speed. So you'll figure out how far is not far enough and how far is too far that would slow you down. You can really work on this ratcheting motion here to start really getting a feel for what the power feels like as you add it into the bike and how to get efficient with that back brake. It's probably quite obvious to you right now why it was such a bad idea for me to wait until I could hop on my back wheel before I started working on this. By hopping on my back wheel, I was introducing so many additional elements that made it harder for me to pick up the basics of the pedal kick. We're not even onto the back wheel yet, and you can already do all of the motions that you're going to need to do. Now we just apply it to that back wheel. So let's talk about the back wheel. The best thing about the progression we're doing right now is that everything you've just done to learn the pedal kick and to get that motion figured out on flat ground is going to apply directly into what we're about to do. So as you've been giving your pedals all kinds of power and getting your body weight off the back of the bike, your front wheel has been coming up a little bit higher each and every time. Eventually, you're going to be able to give the bike enough power that that front wheel comes way up and you're on your back wheel. At that point, you're gonna grab your back brake again, and you're going to do the exact same thing you've been doing. You're going to ratchet the pedals back to the point that you feel most confident with, and you're going to let off the back brake as you push on the pedals. And that's going to roll you forward on that back wheel. The more aggressively you push on that pedal, the farther and faster you're gonna move forward. And that's the foundation of pedal kick gaps, of side hops, of every power move that's gonna come from there. From that point on, the next progression is going to be trying to do as many pedal kick hops forward as you possibly can. This is the progression that goes from flat ground to back wheel pedal kicks. It's really simple and it just connects all of the dots along the way. You know, one thing that I still work on quite a bit in my riding is I get up to that back wheel and I do that little kick manual and then grab the back brake and kick again. It's really great for helping you continue to build efficiency with your pedal kick and your timing with your pedals and your brakes. A lot of people learn the basics of the pedal kick and then they're off to the races. But you're never gonna get all of the power out of the pedal kick if you don't really focus in on that efficiency of your brakes and your pedals. So if you take nothing else away from this entire tutorial, it's continue doing that pedal kick roll so that you can become more and more efficient with your brakes and your pedals. That's truly what the whole thing comes down to. Like I said earlier in this video, once you've got pedal kicks locked in, the entire world of trials will open up for you. Every single power move is based off of pedal kicks, which means that you can go to this intermediate tutorial playlist and pick out any technique that you want to learn. You could learn gaps, you could learn my personal favorite side hops, but either way, go out there and have fun.